Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to take you on a journey. A journey, my friends. The hero's journey of those who try to clean up their craft room after the holidays. So we are going to clean up, defrag the filming room, the office here that I'm in now. It's actually already done. So this is just me introducing the whole epic tale, the powerful tale of woe that is cleaning your art studio after months and months of neglect. We are going to defrag the Room of Hoard, basically go through everything and consolidate, donate, declutter, wipe down, vacuum, clean up, and the goal is to get the pottery wheel into the Room of Hoard. And I can tell you now, because it's future Lindsay, I could tell you that we were successful. So without further ado, let's go see past Lindsay and see how this whole thing went down. And if you're interested in an in-depth tour of my filming room, my office here, or the Room of Hoard, let me know in the comments below and I can make that happen. So without further ado, let's go see the scary before. Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. I just started tearing apart my studio about 10 minutes ago. I set this for 30 minutes and now it's at 20. And I brought my sewing machine in here and I thought, oh my gosh, I said I would record this. I've got a little bit of a desk out there that you might remember because it was right there before. So basically I'm going to build a sewing station in my office. I'm going to be moving stuff back and forth. I want to demolish this whole area here because I don't think it's very useful space, and I want to put my pottery wheel here. So I'll just do a quick pan around the room. It's fairly organized, but I am like kind of gathering stuff on the table there that I need to find homes for. And yeah, I'm going to rework this studio. All right, it's I've worked for 10 more minutes. I took that stand, oh, I don't know if I had that there. Anyway, I did a 30-minute chunk and then I did a 10-minute chunk, and this is what it's looking like now. But I was thinking that I wanted to have that cabinet there because that's all my fabric. I was thinking I wanted that in the area as well. So let's go take a look and see what we could do. So this is what we have so far. I shimmed up that little table piece that I had as an L on my other bench, put my sewing machine there. It's really sturdy because underneath I have that that shelf that's got my embroidery floss and all my sewing notions and whatnot. And I was thinking I could put notions in that vanity thing too. That's probably just kind of a waste of space, but I have it and I don't know what else to do with it. So I was thinking I would take that shelf in back behind the rolly cart out, because on that shelf all I have there basically is it's kind of like a junk drawer, honestly. It's good stuff, but like there's things I'm getting ready to make a video on, and then there's just random inks, and that definitely needs to be put away in its normal home. And I think I could put the fabric thing there and still have extra space here. And it's just about the same height as the cubbies too, so if I wanted to carry like a shelf across, I could do that as well. So that's what I'm thinking now. I'm gonna try it. So here's where I get a bit confused. Like, I have this set of 48 acrylic paints and I use it a lot for when I am gel printing or doing small projects in here in my office, but I have a whole other area where I store acrylic paint, so it kind of seems silly to have this separate. But then again, it's really handy to have that, so I don't know if I should put it with my other acrylic paints, like break them all up because I store them by color, or just leave them there because it's really handy to have that. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. It fits perfectly, guys. Actually, I have plenty of space left over, so I don't know. I don't want to cover that outlet up, but I don't know if I want to push it right up against the wall or leave a gap. I'm not sure, but I'm just happy that it fits there. So first I thought I was going to put like a little extend a shelf across that cabinet, but actually I think I'm going to shift everything down on this wall so that I have more room on my easel for when I want to paint, because I can't fit my larger canvases on there, and that's kind of a bummer. So that's my plan. I'm also going to move the markers on top of that little secretary desk, so it will be behind me in videos, but that's what I think right now. Well, I got quite a bit done in here. I moved the cabinets together. I haven't really, tidied it up totally. I still have a lot of stuff to put away. I've got a bunch of stuff on my table here, and I think I'm just going to call it a night. I think that's going to work out well for sewing. I don't have anything really put away yet, but let's go look in the other room. Well, guys, I just did a mural on the back wall. I took out the bench and all the stuff that was under there. I need to sweep again because of the chalk dust. But, oh, that's so bright and cheerful. I love it. I know it's like super like Punky Brewster, but that's going to be so nice to be doing my pottery and looking at that. Tally! Tally has made herself at home on the new cleared off table. How are you doing? Oh, extreme close up. Extreme close up. I still need to declutter, but I'm going to show you the finished pottery setup here. I think it's going to work out pretty well. I just need to have another little block for, I think, under my other foot. Got the cheerful mural. I got a place to set things to dry. And I do have other crates and a drying rack that I can use for the pottery. And then I'll just pan around the rest of the room, which honestly, I do need to do a little bit of decluttering, I think. But I did put that cubby unit there. I've just been kind of packing things in, but I really need to go through and declutter stuff. I got a box of decluttering going there. I have a bunch of dry erase boards and stuff for a friend who was a daycare if she can use them. And I put those big canvases underneath that cloth over there. I have mat boards and some large sheets of paper and stuff back there. My Yupo paper, which won't be harmed by moisture, and my mat boards, and then, you know, my art books. And oh, I love this drawer here. I'll show you. It's all my pigment powders. So when I want to do mica, or I want to do I want to work with Brusho or something, they're all in there, so they're really fun to, that's fun to go through and play with. So I think the other stuff I showed you in other videos, but that's where we are now. I just need to clean up my office, and I'll show you how that turned out. Say bye, Kelly. Okay guys, here we go. I'm going to sort out my empty box hoard here. So my goal is, I have to back up, there's so many. My goal is to have that black crate over there with packaging that I think I might want to put stuff back in. So if you look at that pencil rack over there, I have several brands of pencils in there, and I don't know if I'll always want to keep them in that rack. So I may keep like the Brutfuner boxes and things like that. Then I've got that big gray tote back there. That's going to be for like large plastic store-bought organizers that like I'll go in there for storage around the house and whatnot. That big clear plastic tote, that's going to be just like my art storage that I want to save for other stuff. And yeah, I don't want to have a bunch of overflow. So I might be able to tidy things up and get it to fit better, but I'm definitely going to have to get rid of a few things. And I think having it all together here in a big pile is going to make me realize that I have plenty and I don't need to hang on to every single box. I set my timer for 10 minutes and I've emptied that. I did come up with some piles. So the crate is all set. I put all the tins that I want to keep, including a wooden box from Winsor & Newton with the pastels came in, just because it's a really nice case. And I also kept the Soho pastel case. I'll point to it with my foot because I'm holding a camera. And then just a bunch of colored pencil cases that I might want to put my colored pencils back in because they're currently in that arrangement thing over there. The stuff I'm showing you here on frame, that stuff I'm going to get rid of. Then the stuff in the middle, I'm not sure. I guess some cigar boxes, and I don't know, I have a hard time throwing away wooden boxes as well as metal tins too, and things I've made. So I don't know. This plastic storage over here, I think I'm going to keep because I often find little containers to be really useful. Oh, and I want to show you what I was able to do with one of these containers. I'm so sorry if I'm jiggling and making anybody nauseous. Little like pill containers. These are great because you can use them for like watercolors or storing brads. I have a bunch of brads and embellishments stored in these in the other room. Just tiny little containers, little Band-Aid tins, little test tubes, that sort of thing that I might use for crafts or just for small storage like bead storage. I'm keeping in this container. So hopefully it will always fit, and as soon as I take something out, it's actually going to be more spacious. Sometimes I save things that are weird. These are great. They're from the Dollar Tree. You get 3 for $1, and they're so good. I'll show you what I use them for in my storage under my table. I keep all of my watercolor tubes divided by, I don't know why I have such a Maine accent today, by color family. So they are great for fitting in those iris carts. They're just ideal. They're the right length, and they're 3 for $1, but I always find use for them, so they flux in and out. Then I have stuff like this, which I think dumplings from Trader Joe's came in, but it's so handy when you're like making, like when I was making Christmas cards, I had cut out a bunch of like sentiments and focal points and things, and I just kept them organized in there on my table. So it's, I know it's like garbage, but it's so handy that I'm gonna keep it. And then I've got some like marker cases that I just can't part with. I don't know why. My Blick Studio markers came in these, and they're such high quality cases. I really like them, even though I keep my Blick Studio markers over here in my big shelf of markers because I like to use them with all my other brands of markers, all my open stock markers. So Those cases really aren't that useful right now, but maybe I'll change my mind and I'll want them again. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what fits back in that tote. That pile of stuff over there with the big Nike box on top, which was just a spray ink box, but I realized I don't really need to keep a box for spraying ink. There's always a box or a bag around that I can use for that, so I don't need to really keep a box for that. I've got just like high quality boxes I've kept, but it's like it's kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to put my Sennelier pastels back in there. I use them too often. They're in my drawers. Just a bunch of random boxes there too. Those are going to go. But yeah, I guess we'll come back when I've got everything nice and tidily back. And I haven't even gone into the general household stuff. I'm definitely keeping the Harbor Freight storage my son just got me for Christmas. That's super useful. But yeah, we're gonna make sure everything fits in those two totes and I can get the lid on, and that's my goal. There is the stuff I'm getting rid of, those boxes and baskets, and they are kind of nested together, so it doesn't look like a lot, but look, I can close the lid on that, I can close the lid on that, and that is the stuff that I might actually re-tin at some point. So I feel good about this. I'll donate those baskets. I think they're fairly good quality, so I can either donate them or use them for gift wrap. And also there were a couple of gift card holders that I think I saved to make watercolor palettes out of. I'm going to put them into the gift wrap supply so I could use them. One's even brand new with a tag on it, and I can always go in and grab that if I want to make a watercolor palette with it. See what I do? I stash stuff everywhere. I'm so sneaky. And I still got time left in my little chicken. I've got like, I don't know, I've got 4 minutes left on my chicken. See, things don't take as long as you think they will. I mean, especially unpleasant tasks, they usually are much quicker than you think they're going to be. Really quick, I emptied out the Arteza brush markers that were in these 3 boxes into this one leftover box from an Artify set that I had. I actually keep these upstairs on my fun art desk, and I just really thought the case was great. So I couldn't believe it. All 108 of those markers fit in here, and I love the way that they're kind of organized and grouped by color family, and they take up less space. And I'm able to keep all my Arteza markers together right there. And now what I want to do is go through the bins of things like the pastes and watercolor mediums and all that stuff I have in those blue plastic bins, and then the spray inks that I have down there, and then I think I'm going to put them in some of the empty drawers there. I was able to empty out those 2 bins. I have them nested together there. I put all my pastes in here, and I even kept little swatches of my different pastes there. I didn't know if they would fit, but they do. And then here I've got my gouache tubes. I've got some like cut up credit card scrapers back there, some sponges. And then I did put my watercolor mediums because they're too tall to stand up in those drawers, and I'm afraid they might leak, and plus I want to use them, so I got a big void here. I could put the mediums on their sides, but I think what I'll do is end up putting them with my other stuff, and I did save out a couple of sponges to put with my watercolor stuff in my office, and then I've got a thing of stamp cleaner and a thing of pen cleaner, which shouldn't be in here. They should be with my my stamp pad cleaners and pens. So we're making progress. I had a brainstorm. I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool to bring this letterpress tray in here, and then I could put these wheels on their edge like that, and I'd be able to see what my stamp wheels are, because I like having stamp wheels. And then I could put these extra inks, all my inks in there too, and have them right where I can see them, because I have a couple handles for my wheels up there, and I do enjoy using them. And let me show you how they're stored currently. They're on this, this thing was a calendar frame, and my husband put a piece of plywood on the back and hammered nails through them so they could sit on that, which is great, but I can't really see what the designs are very well. However, I didn't have enough slots for my big wheels that way, but I'm thinking that I'm going to have Jason mount the both of those side by side up there so that I can have all my wheels there and I can have all my inks there, and I'm be more likely to use them. And up top, oh, these are so cool. I wish we could still find them. They are like little postmarks. I don't have a great way to store them, so I keep them in their original container. Hold on. I gotta take the top off of this, and it's difficult. So they're in these little cylinders, and what they are these little wooden stamps. They come 3 to a set, and they have like postmarks, and they are the cutest things. And I found them on Amazon once, super cheap. There were 2 sets there, and it was like $12 a set. And you got so many of those cute little stamps. Anyway, if those ever come out again, I'm definitely gonna like tell the world about them because they're super cute. But anyway, that's where I'm at now. I gotta do some actual filming work, but I'm hoping when Jason gets home from work, he will put those up for me, and then I will be able to finish up my craft room declutter for 2023. Okay, those are mounted on the wall. Actually, my son came over to work on a TV cabinet he was building and asked him to put those up. So I really like that. I put my cityscape stamps on the shelves because I really like them and they're so fun just to play with and make cute little tags. And I actually have a clear stamp set that goes with them. So I put that just in a little basket back there. And I also have extra handles and adapters for the really tiny stamp wheels. And I've got all my stamp wheel inks up there, and I hope that makes me use them more. I put my Christmas ones up there because I know I didn't need to get them very often. I wish I had them so I could see the designs on the outside, but it doesn't take long for me to find what I want because I don't have that many. And then I have a couple other handles there with some wheels I use a lot. But yeah, I'm really happy with how that's coming out. The last thing in this room I feel like I really need to deal with is that corner. It is just chock-a-block full of stuff. And it's a lot of stuff that I don't need to get to very often. It's stuff for classes, it's empty bags. I definitely feel like I just need to drag it all out, see what I have, and hopefully get rid of some of it. I'm 15 minutes in and having that why did I start this moment here. I'm collecting my bags that I definitely want to keep up there, the big ones. I've got markers I just put there. I don't know if they're going to stay there. Stencils, which are going to go back down a lower shelf. Those need to go off the shelves. Oh, there's my mat board scraps that I emptied and found different places for that stuff. I've got boxes of patterns that I got for collage, but I have too many. I should probably give away some of those. And yeah, I've just been throwing stuff on my table. There are that stack of 3 binders down there are all CDs, and I think I'm going to put them upstairs in Jackson's old room so I can actually get to them when I want to listen to them, because I never listen to them down here. I don't have a CD player in this area, so, and my convertible has a 6 CD changer, so I'm going to be using those in that. And yeah, there's the bins of stuff I haven't gone through. Wrapping supplies, which actually I did go through recently, and then canvas making supplies. And then I've got glass shards down there in that little drawer, which is totally random, but when I was doing a lot of glass bead making, I had all those shards just separated by color so I could do some glass fusing. So I don't know, they're just down there because I don't do that very often. Wish me luck, guys. I'm gonna keep on keeping on. All right, I made some real progress here. I think this probably took me about an hour, maybe. I set my timer for 10 minutes 2 times, and then I just kept on working. So I was able to get rid of one of the bins, the bin of gift wrap. I did take everything out of those, and I really couldn't combine them into one. One has papers and stretcher bars. One has, in that yellow bag to keep the dust off, is a bolt of canvas, a bolt of muslin. I've got my trash bags there and some yardsticks inside of there, and there's my paper and my stretcher bars. I had a big stack of embroidery stretcher bars. It must have been given to me. I'm gonna donate those. I'll see if any of my friends want them first. And then in the bottom 2 bins, I didn't do much to. They have like plaster of Paris, India ink, palettes, bags, stuff for classes like palettes and like extra stamps and stuff like that I use in classes. I got a gallon of matte and gloss Mod Podge there. That purple bin has mat board scrap, so I just pull that black bin out of the way and I can pull that out to fish through for a scrap that I need. I get into there quite frequently. Those 2 boxes have doilies in them. In there, that pink bin right there is all gift wrap, and I did just set my big heat gun in there just because it's out of the way. But I was able to get rid of the trash can that was full of, it was a clean new trash can, but I had all my gift wrap in there and I was able to consolidate it. Because honestly, I'll use my butcher paper that's there and there for wrapping non-Christmas presents and just use whatever yarn. And I mean, that's fine. I think less gift wrap is fine in my life. These are my big stencils and I can just reach in there for what I want. This bin here is foam stamps and this bin here is alphabet stamps, and I can just pull this down on that shelf when I need to get through it. Those 2 bags I did not empty out. The Grumbacher bag is my summer like hiking field art studio. Basically, I'll like hike with it and then it folds open to a chair and then I have all my stuff in there. The blue bag is my scrapbook on the go or craft on the go bag. So it's stocked with some colored pencils and some markers and just like the basics. It's got some Bristol in there. It's got everything I need just to do some quick stamping with friends. Those bags are empty. I have an etcher satchel. I have a messenger bag, and then I have another art bag. Had them for a long time. I just can't bear to part with them. That crate back there has deli paper. I had ordered what I thought was 1 package of 500 sheets of deli paper or 1 package of 100 sheets. I ended up getting 5 packages of 100 sheets or 1,000 sheets. I don't know. It's a lot of deli paper. So I use it for gel printing and also because it's acid free, I use it for wrapping up pastels, pastel paintings. I just got a couple of cords in there. Behind this, I have those patterns. I have a box of patterns that's to keep like things that I might want to actually make, and the other box is kids patterns that I would collage with because the pieces are smaller. Those 2 things of tie-dye, those aren't tie-dye, they're actually the empty bottles from tie-dye, which I save for putting like paint or gesso or whatever in them. Then I had a couple empty boxes there because I painted them, and actually my mom painted the one that's like a dome top, and I painted the other one, and I don't know, sentimental. These are overflow markers. I know, ridiculous, I should get rid of them, but they are a line of markers that are still current, so when I review markers, I compare them against similar ones because oftentimes it's the same thing, just repackaged. On the top shelf, I have stuff I don't need to get to very often. I have wooden spools, I have feathers, and that crate is full of large spools of ribbon and like seasonal decoration stuff, so that only comes down a couple times a year so that can stay up there. And there you have it. That looks so much nicer. I know what everything is. I still probably have more than I need, but I was able to get rid of a ton of stuff. And I was able to bring like the 2 bins of stamps. Those came from cubbies, so now I've freed up 2 cubbies, which is also really good. And I found some tempera paint powder to donate to my friend. Has the daycare. I've got some leftover ribbons and things like that. And those CDs are going to go upstairs. And just like random craft things that I don't think I'm going to use can all go in a big bin for my friend. And yeah, I think that just about does it. I got to put away that stuff, get the donation boxes ready, and then I will show you how the whole thing came out. All right, here is the back wall. I am really happy with how this came out. I ended up putting the color wheel puzzle on top of that. I might move it onto the easel from time to time if I want to splash a color in the background of my videos. But I think this looks really nice as far as the back wall. Now, something I changed here with a little secretary desk I want to share with you. Let me just scoop in front of the camera. There were a couple blocks in there. I have no idea if this is on the camera, but I moved it so I'll be able to close that. I couldn't close that before because I had this part raised up and there were these blocks supporting it and this would bump in with it. So now it shuts well if I don't want to have that open. And I think that's a nice improvement. On this wall, you can see my cart with stamping supplies, then the long bench for sewing. I put the sewing machine in a cart or in a tote underneath the little vanity there. And I've got all of my sewing supplies in here. I think I mentioned bringing that over before. And yeah, it's all pretty well organized. This is all rubber stamping supplies. I didn't do anything with those drawers because they were all very organized anyway, but there's that wall. I didn't do too much to this bookshelf because it was all organized. I'd gone through all those watercolor palettes recently, so I knew they were all set. I have the shelves my son put up for me there, you can see, and I think that looks really nice. And I've got extra like wheel stuff behind that organize box, and I didn't do anything to that behind the door storage there. That's oil paints and some of my acrylics. I have my open acrylics, and then over here I just have my pastel cabinet and my die cutter, and yeah, that's pretty much empty. That's where I would put stuff I'm getting ready to review. Now let's go into the Room of Hoard, the scary, scary Room of Hoard that actually is not so scary anymore. I got to turn on the lights over the pottery area and I can show you how this all came out. I think it turned out really well, and I've got plenty of light in here, and I just think it's much nicer than it was before. So starting off here, we've got the pottery corner. I've got my wheel there. I've got clay in that little cabinet over there, plus all my clay tools in the drawer and in the little pot on top. I have alcohol inks actually in that little chest of drawers there. It just fit there pretty well. And behind, like underneath on the little shelf, there's my canvas rags or canvas cloth for wedging and you know, rolling out clay on and stuff like that. That shelf is pretty much just for the most part, empty and ready to store some of my pottery. I've got some bisque-fired stuff there that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with, but there it is. And that bucket there just has some slip in it. I'll probably dry it out a little bit and re-wedge some of it and keep some of it for slip in a smaller container. Then over here, I didn't really do anything to the brushes. I've gone through those recently and organized them. Same with the canvases. I keep way up high. I can use some of that rafter space up there for the canvases. Speaking of rafters, I have all my tapes up there hanging on nails on the joists, and it's always worked really well for me, and I can see exactly what I have. Now over here, I really didn't have to do much to the bookcase because I've recently been through all of that. Basically once a year. I want to make sure I go through everything at least once a year. So some of these categories have been gone through. I did shuffle a little bit over here. I don't even remember what I had on that shelf now, but I had something and I moved it, and I was able to bring in some of the sketchbooks that I had in my office because I tend to bring a lot in and then like maybe work on a couple pages and then it just stays in there. So I did put some stuff back there on the sketchbook shelves, and gosh, I don't even remember what I had there. Oh, I did have some little scratch art cards and some little watercolor brush pens that I decided to donate to my friend's preschool. And up there, that's a mass of oil pastels that I have for workshops and whatnot. I did move some paper underneath there, and I did tidy that up a little bit. I had some big copy paper that was in another area, and I just tucked that in there with all my drawing paper because it would be less likely to get wrinkled. And then way on the bottom, I had my box of hot glue gun was part of hot glue guns and glue gun accessories and stuff was underneath that big bench that I moved to make my pottery area. So that's in a little shoebox underneath there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's all. I did get rid of something else there, and I don't remember what now. It's funny. It's like you don't even miss it. You think you're gonna miss this stuff. It's so precious and valuable, and then you get rid of it and you don't even miss it. And it's only been like the course of a week. So here's where I'm keeping all of my marker sets, and I did manage to clear out 2 of the cubbies. Now this was sitting on the bench that is where my pottery area is now, and so that's pretty well organized. I was able to move some of the pastes that I had, because I did have a couple baskets with like pastes in them, and I'll show you where those ended up. I just need to tighten my tripod down so it doesn't fall. I put them in here, and that works out great because it's going to be very easy for me to find what I want. I moved some stuff around so I could have gouache here, and these are just my tube gouaches, which I don't have too much. Gouaches, well, that's a weird word. I don't think it's a word, actually. And I have my Cheap Joe's watercolor crayons in there, because I had them with my colored pencils, and I didn't think that was a really good option. And then I've got different stuff. This is empty, so I put some clay in here that I had in the package it came in, but it took way more space, so I just put my clay and clay tools together there. Polymer clay, that is. And that's just some random game pieces, nothing too interesting. All right, let's look at the colored pencil set wall up there. I'm going to stand back here because it's just a little bit easier for you to see all of that if I'm back here. Maybe I'll go over there and I can point stuff out to you a little bit. So I just, when we moved into this ranch, all of the, what do you call it? Oh, my glasses on. I'm such a nerd. All of my closets, all the closets upstairs had these sliding luan doors, and we replaced them with curtains because they were always going off the tracks and they were a pain. So this is a tabletop. This is also, one of these is a tabletop in my office, and one of these was also the bench. So I've used these everywhere. They're great. I use them when I do craft fairs, on sawhorses and stuff. Just really, really handy. So behind me, I was able to move something. So I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these for like colored pencils and markers. I didn't do too much up there. That's about the same as it was. I have blending tools up here. I did move those up there. They were in 2 different places, which didn't make sense because storing like with like is really handy when you are organizing your stuff. And then over here, I'm not sure if this is showing up in camera or not. I might have to move the camera around. I'll keep going up here and then I'll move the camera, I think. Beading supplies, that's the way it was. I don't really use the beading supplies anymore, but my daughter Lila does, so she just comes down and helps herself. This is also drawer making supplies, and so is this. I was able to empty a few shelves over here by putting all my photos and stuff I'd already pulled the scrapbook together into an album. I just put the photos in the album, in the page protectors, and I will scrapbook them later if I want to. If not, they're there and people can still look at them. And then I have my extra page protectors up there. I have an empty drawer here. I put my coils for my binding machine there. I'm not sure if this is still in a frame. Yep, that's still in frame. That's my binding stuff. So this would be like my comb binding machine. Then I've got a long reach stapler for doing pamphlet binding. I've got a regular 3-hole office punch, and then I've got a heavy planner punch. So if I want to do a disc bound album, this is more beads. This is jelly gouache sets and opaque watercolors. So essentially gouache-like stuff. And then I've got prepped boards here. These are matte boards that I've prepped with clear gesso so I can use them with colored pencils or pastels really well. Those are my stamps. The binders have my rubber stamps assorted by theme. I no longer have the big canvases sitting in front of that because I knew they'd get splashed with clay, and now I can actually just easily grab the binders off. It wasn't that big of a deal before to move the canvases to get to them, but I figured they would be better off in the corner like I mentioned earlier, and then I can just see and get to all that. I also put my origami stuff all together in that little gap between those two bins of stamps. I was able to get rid of a box of 6x6 paper by doing that, and that way I have all my origami stuff together. Those origami kits that are in there came from my office. They were on the bookshelf, and I figured they didn't make sense to be in there. They really should be where I would have other supplies that I would use with them. And this is my pride and joy, my wall of rubber stamps. I really enjoy rubber stamps, wooden rubber stamps, and I think they're fun to look at as well as being fun to use. Here I have a poster board display with some papers, larger papers and larger paper pads on them. And then I like to use those plastic carts you can get at, Staples or Target at back to school time. They're always on sale. They're really handy for storing like really bulky big stuff. Like I've got my acrylic mediums in here. Hopefully that's in the shot. These are heavy. They take a lot of weight. I've got 2 stacked up on top of each other. I just take the wheels off. There's some acrylic painting supplies, mostly for gel printing. That's why I have the rollers in there. And then these are just little containers that I put magnets on the back, and I have my decorative brads, and they work really well there. I hope all that stuff was in frame. Now we can look down the corridor here to the kind of scrapbook cubes. I was able to clear off quite a few of those. I'm just going to go around my table so I can show you. Hopefully I'll be in frame, I don't know. This is just an empty basket. These baskets will fit in the top and bottom of each of these cubes, but I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 empty cubes. So I was able to use up a lot of stuff this year, and I felt really good about that. I keep ribbon in this whole row of drawers. I've gone through those recently. It's kind of a mess, but I do find that I'm getting in there several times a month to get ribbons out, so I know that the storage is useful. This one's kind of fun because it's got the pretty raveled rose trim, and I love to use that on projects. And I got rickrack in there and stuff. And then, I just keep random stuff for collaging. I got my embossing powders and all sorts of stuff. It's all useful stuff that I want to keep, and that's what I wanted to get to, just to get to the stuff that I wanted to keep. This is not a really pretty part of the area, but this is the Room of Hoard. This is the storage area, so I'm not really concerned with it being that pretty. And I kept most stuff together like with like. That's all cardstock. Ahead there in that cream cabinet underneath, that's all cardstock by color. I'll open that up in a second so you can see it. Over there, oops, let me see. Over there in those drawers, that's like framing supplies, packaging supplies. I've got some drawing supplies there. I have an extra Rite Aid poster board rack there that I use for drying things, and also just things that are kind of big and difficult to store and flat. And you just saw me redo that shelf, so I don't really think there's much more there to show, but I will show you what's underneath my bench here. I'm off the tripod, so it will be a little bit shaky. This is just, I have some knitting looms in there. My yarns are there by Cool and Warm Colors. I have my Spectrum Noir markers there. I don't use them very often. I've got my Chameleon and Chartback markers there. Again, I don't use them very often, but sometimes I want to compare them or I need to demonstrate them in a video. Then I've got the most recent Ohuhu offerings, and I'm keeping those together because they'll be what I grab probably most often if I'm doing something for Ohuhu. My peg stamps there, sadly they're no longer in business, but this is all like dense with peg stamps. And then I keep all of my inks in here in trays, so I can just bring this tray to my table. I've got the Hydrus inks in some in one bin. I've got Jane Davenport inks in another one. I've got acrylic inks in this big bin here, so I can grab the ink that I need for whatever project I'm doing. Again, these little Dollar Tree bins work really great for that. I did keep my Radiance inks in the containers they come in because it was just the best way to store them. And that is pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this end of year defrag, declutter. It probably still looks very cluttered, but it's really not. It's really not. It's much nicer to be in here. I mean, this whole area there was just packed with stuff. So it was nice to get that taken care of. And, you know, I did reorganize some drawers. So if you'd want a more in-depth video, let me know. I mean, I don't know. Does anybody really want that? I guess I thought I would do that, but it's like, geez, I feel like I've kind of shown you everything there is. On the other end of this, these are all these cube units. I highly recommend making a desk like this because you could stash so much stuff in these little containers. You can get them at the Home Depot, Target, Walmart, any place like that, and they make the best like table legs because you get storage and you get a really sturdy thing to put your tabletop on. So there you have it. I might put some drop cloths over my shelves just to kind of keep dust off of them, but other than that, I think I'm done. That tote there has my travel teaching supplies, so it's all watercolor supplies in there. I just grab it and go when I have a class. And yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'm happy to answer if I can. Thank you so much for watching and keeping me accountable, because if I wasn't doing this video, this probably wouldn't have gotten done yet, so I'm really happy about that. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye!